Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Border Battle Show. I'm your host, Eli Merrick, and with me, as always, is Tim Smith. Thank you so much
Hey,
for listening.
Eli.
What?
I heard that the Bears game is going to be the first. This weekend's playoff game will be the first game ever on Nickelodeon, and so I did a little research, and you know why?
Why?
Because even the NFL knows that the Bears being in the playoffs is a joke.
You're right, but somehow they earned it more than the Vikings did, so I'm glad to
Ah,
see them there more than the Vikings, who
it's I
clearly
no
didn't
comment.
deserve it.
No comment. It hurts too much.
Do you want to talk about the Vikings game at all, Tim? Or because it completely didn't matter, should we just move on immediately? I will
It
say your
didn't
offense
matter.
played good.
Yeah, we put up numbers. I kind of was done with the season last week. Like I explained where we were at. I feel like we wrapped the Viking season wrapped last week for all intents and purposes. This was just like a fun scrimmage with
Y-
our friends, the Lions.
Yeah, neither of these teams are playing for anything. The Lions are a better team at tanking. Just historically, they've had a lot more practice doing it than the Vikings. So
Yo,
I think I expected the Vikings to lose this game, but I was mostly just trying to make up pick points because I'm behind.
yeah,
It's the same old story though with the Vikings. The defense just doesn't have anyone. The offense is really good.
yep.
It has
Although,
the pieces. We'll see what you guys can do next year. Like,
yep,
you know, put some more pieces on the defense. This team could do something.
yeah. And I mean, we will have some pieces coming from injury, so I don't know. Like I feel like we have a good shot at the playoffs next year. We can hold our heads high. We know our offense is in a good position, and so we know what we need to do, and we'll get them next year, which it is what it is.
Yeah, let's move on to the Packers game, a game that actually had some playoff implications. The Packers needed to win this game to clinch home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Also, that first round bye, they'd be the only team in the NFC with a bye, as only one team gets one in each conference now. Packers did it, and they did it easily. They won 35-16. Aaron Rodgers was impressive once again. 4 touchdowns, 0 picks, 240 yards. Um, Not a whole lot to say about this one. It's clear that this Packers team was just better, completely just outclassed the Bears. What are your thoughts, Tim?
There was a moment in third quarter, fourth quarter, like right around there, where the Bears were only down by 5. It was like 21-16 or whatever, and it looked like, oh, this could actually be a good game. And then the Packers just pulled away. So I
Yeah,
mean, I think that's what the real takeaway was. Like the Packers just have more. Like they'll just keep on scoring, scoring, scoring. Eventually, the Bears are going to slow down in a game. They only have so much they can do offensively, and if they can't slow you down in time, it's over for the Bears.
yeah, I think that's exactly right. What we're looking at with this Packers offense is something historically good. Like this Packers offense, Aaron Rodgers has thrown more touchdowns this year than the times the Packers have punted. They got more thrown touchdowns than punts. Um,
Yeah,
like this offense is just very hard to stop, and your offense as a team that has to play the Packers needs to be clicking so well just to keep up. And the Bears just don't have that good of an offense.
yeah.
Let's go into talking about our end of season player awards. We got MVP first off. What are the Vegas odds and front runners there?
The Vegas odds are Rogers at -350 is the head and shoulders front runner.
Mm-hmm.
Mahomes is plus 300, second place. Josh Allen at third with plus 1200. Derrick Henry at plus 2500. Russell Wilson and Brady are tied at plus 25,000. Then it's just all downhill from there. Although I will say it's worth noting, and I don't have them on these odds, but a lot of odds have Devonte Adams as 10th, which is the
That
highest I've ever seen a wide receiver.
Yeah, wide receivers usually don't get any love. Devonte Adams definitely deserves all the attention he's getting. But honestly, is there any reason to believe that it won't be Aaron Rodgers. I feel like he is the far and away favorite this year.
Yeah. As much as I want Josh Allen, it's going to be Rodgers. But if I was a football writer and had a vote, I'd still vote for Josh Allen. I'd give him the first place vote because
Yeah, end of the year stats for Rodgers are incredible. Just 1 yard shy of 4,300 yards. He's averaging 8.2 yards an attempt, 48 touchdowns. That's a career high. He's the second player ever to throw 45 or more touchdowns twice in his career. Peyton Manning, the only other player to do so. Only 5 interceptions. Just ridiculous efficiency by the Packers offense this year. Um, I think he deserves to be MVP. He's gonna win it. I think the question is, with this new offense that the Packers have in place, Tim, do you see Aaron Rodgers as only getting better, or is this kind of his last hurrah, his last really good season, and is it gonna go downhill from here?
I don't think he's gonna get better. I think he's peaked for all intents and purposes. Like he had what is either his best or second best season, depending on who you ask. I don't think he'll get better. I think he can stay at this level for a couple of years, and then he'll probably go downhill. Like I think that he has a good offense in place, and regardless of whether or not they keep Aaron Jones and go to pivot to AJ Dillon, like I think he still has the pieces to be at the top of the league. So I mean, the question I have though is he going to break the MVP curse? Because I think no NFL MVP has won the Super Bowl the year they won MVP since Kurt Warner back in the 90s.
Interesting. Well, recently it's been a lot of young guys who I think kind of win the MVP 1 year before they're really
But
ready for postseason success.
Matt Ryan did it and lost in the Super Bowl. Cam Newton did it the year he lost in the Super Bowl. Peyton Manning did it the year Seahawks lost in the Super Bowl, I believe. And there's a couple others. I think Russell Wilson won it the year that the Seahawks lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl. There's a lot of MVPs going to the Super Bowl and losing.
Interesting. Let's hope. For the Packers' sake, let's hope it doesn't happen. I let's talk a few more end of the season players that we want to shout out, and then we'll talk about what are the Packers' actual chances this postseason to walk away with the Lombardi Trophy. Who do you got for like offensive player of the year? Let's exclude quarterbacks. Let's talk about running backs, wide receivers. Who really stands out to you, Tim?
I didn't want to do this because I wanted to cling to my Dalvin Cook hope. But if I was to give an offensive player of the year that wasn't a quarterback, it's Derrick Henry. I think over the last couple of weeks, he just showed everyone that he's the best. He's the best running back in the league, I think, right now.
Yeah, it's not even close. For those of you that haven't looked at the stats recently, he broke 2,000 yards this year, which is just a ridiculous landmark to hit. Only the greats have done it. 2,027 yards and 17 touchdowns. That was averaging 126 yards a game. He was just dominant. He can totally take over games. He is the reason why Tennessee is in the playoffs. Yeah, he is the winner in my opinion. Other running backs that were really good this year, Dalvin Cook obviously only played 14 games, 57 yards, 16 touchdowns, very dominant. Was definitely in the running, just didn't play as many games. Aaron Jones also really good season. Jonathan Taylor top of the leaderboard as far as rushing yards. Receivers though, I think Devontae Adams definitely leading the way.
Yeah.
Just what a season.
Yeah. And he did it in what, 13 games?
14 games. He had 18 touchdowns and 115 catches. Like the Packers offense can just go through him over and over and over again, and teams just can't stop him. It's incredible what he's been able to do this year. Stephon Diggs, Vikings didn't need him. He got exactly what he wanted out of that deal and just he is the focal point of a really high-powered offense, and he's the number one there, and he's
Yep.
just thriving in that role. Led the league in yards this year with 1,535.
Yeah, Diggs. I feel like this vindicates me with a lot of Vikings fans because I feel like he was always the better wide receiver of the Thielen Diggs duo, and I feel like we see it now. Like Thielen's still good, but like Diggs, given the right opportunity, is just a way better wide receiver in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's the consistency that he shows week in and week out as their number one is impressive. He had
Yeah.
127 receptions this year. That's a
Yeah,
ton.
it's just crazy.
Yep. I also wanted to shout out Travis Kelsey. He is so ridiculous what he is able to do from the tight end position. He was second in receiving yards this year, 1,416 and 11 touchdowns. Like,
Yeah,
just ridiculous what he's able to do. Granted, he's got Mahomes throwing to him.
he is the only tight end that's like literally his team's wide receiver one,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
gross. They have a ridiculous amount of weapons too. Like Tyreek Hill is obviously one of a kind.
yeah.
My boy Robert Tunyon finished this year with 11 touchdowns, which
Yep.
was tied for most by a tight end, right up there with Kelsey. Gotta love it. Let's wrap that up and let's talk about our picks situation. We both finished the year pretty strong. Went 3-1, um, which ends the regular season with you one game ahead of me. You went 26 and
Whoop,
19.
whoop.
I went 25 and 20. We are going to pick all the playoff games, which is a lot with the expanded playoffs. We got our
It is
what are they calling it? This the
Super Wild Card Weekend.
Yeah, Super
Because
Wild Card Weekend. Super snappy name. The alliteration is strong. Um, let's pick the games in the order that they will be. So we got 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. Let's start out
all right,
with Colts Bills. Being you are the leader, Tim, I'll have you pick first on all these.
all right.
Colts versus Bills. Bills, the home team, -6.5. Pretty big spread. What do you think, Tim?
I think if you've watched the Bills over the last couple of weeks, the way their offense moves, like they are just clicking on all cylinders. There's no way, there's no doubt in my mind they don't win this game. The only thing is the Colts have one of the better defenses, and can they keep it close? Because 6.5 that's almost a score of worth of spread. So it's like if Colts can play good enough defense, they can keep it close. But think I think ultimately Bills win, Bills cover. They're just on a roll right now, and you can't stop them.
Yeah. I think the Bills definitely win this game. Um, they are, I would say, the second best team in the AFC, and it's not. They're on a level above everyone else. The Colts have had a good season. Their defense is obviously strong. I just don't trust Philip Rivers at the end of this game to not turn the ball over or make a mistake. Josh Allen has proven that he's at a level above a lot of these other quarterbacks that he'll be competing against. Bills win, but it is going to be close. I'm going Bills win, but Colts cover. Next up, we
All
got
right.
Rams at Seahawks. Should be a pretty fun game. Rams sneaking into the playoffs after winning with a quarterback that had never thrown a snap before in the NFL. It looks like Goff might play even after getting surgery on his thumb. Seahawks have had a up and down season. They started with their offense just flying super high. It was looking like Russell Wilson might be the MVP this year. Then it kind of reversed. Their defense that looked horrible has now started playing well, and their offense has taken some steps back. Who knows what's going on there? They're still a team I'm pretty scared of. At home, Seahawks only favored by 3.5. Tim, what's your pick?
This is one of the games where I think this is a high likelihood of an upset in my opinion. I think the Rams have showed they can play the Seahawks well, and the Rams always play the Seahawks well, at least in the past couple years with the Rams being good. So to me, it's guaranteed to be a close game. And there is some question of whether or not Goff will be there, but I don't know that that'll hurt them that much because we've seen like as long as the quarterback coming in for them knows their game plan well enough, I think they can execute it, and their defense is also good enough where I think they can keep it close. So I'm gonna say this is one of my big upsets. I'm gonna have Rams beating the Seahawks, so they beat and cover.
Okay, that's a spicy pick. I'm going Seahawks win this game. Um, Rams probably have the best defense in the league, but I think the Seahawks are just putting it together at the right time. We've seen this before. Sean Carroll knows what he's doing. I just think he will do enough to get his team the W in a very close game. I expect this to be low scoring and close. Seahawks win and barely cover that 3.5. I think that's about where it's going to be. Maybe win by 4. So wow, that's one that could go big for one of us. You picking the upset.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Buccaneers versus the football team. That's our nightcap on Saturday night. A big spread here. Football team plus 5.5 at home. Of course, they're coming in a 7-9. Right, barely winning their really garbage division. Tampa Bay favored big. What do you think, Tim?
This one is one of the games I see looking at all of them where the spread's way too big. I don't see, although the Buccaneers do have a tendency to pull away at the end of games where they're winning. They're good at that. So I think it's possible that the Buccaneers could cover the spread. I don't see it happening. I really don't. I think the football team has a good defense. They have a good young defense. It's part of what's allowed them to be at the top of their trash heap division. Um, Honestly, I think there's even a potential complete upset. It's not there's upset potential here for the football team, but
Mm-hmm.
ultimately I think the Buccaneers will come through, but the football team will cover the spread.
Okay, yeah, I don't have much to talk about here because I think I would mirror everything you said. I think this is going the exact same way. The spread is very large. Football team isn't that bad of a team. Just because they have no name doesn't mean that they don't have any good players. They got some good name recognition players. Alex Smith is a good, competent quarterback. That he's playing well after coming off of some career-threatening injuries. They're a fun team to
Yeah.
watch. It should be a good game. 8.5 is too much. So Tampa Bay wins, but yeah, I can't pick a football team to win this game. Tampa Bay is going to win it, but 8.5 is just too large. Let's go on to the Sunday games. Ravens at Titans plus 3.5. Ravens favored on the road. They are on a hot streak. Lamar Jackson rushed for over 1,000 yards this year, and they are looking really good. What do you think about this matchup?
So this is the matchup that doomed the Ravens last year because they looked really good last year and then they ran into the buzzsaw Titans if I remember correctly, and then it was Titans Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. So I feel like the Ravens really want to. They have a lot of motivation to come in here and just put the nail in the coffin and then try to make a run of this. So to me, I understand why the Ravens are favored here, and I think the Ravens will pull it out. And I just think the Ravens are the better team right now. I The Titans seem a little one dimensional to me right now. Like I think they just got Derrick Henry, and they just hope that works. That might be underselling them a little bit, but that's how they feel to me right now. So I gotta go Ravens win and cover.
Okay, I'm going the exact opposite direction on this one. Derrick Henry is the NFL's leading rusher, and it was by 500 yards, and he might put up 500 yards in this game. Uh, it's a bit of an exaggeration, but he's gonna go off. I just think Tennessee has that knockout punch potential in the playoffs where they'll just come in and run all over you. They're at home too. Derrick Henry wins this game for Tennessee. Tennessee wins. Tennessee covers. I make up more games and pull ahead this week. Bears versus Saints. This is the biggest spread of them all. -10 for Sean Payton's Saints at home. Go ahead.
It's ridiculous. I don't. Maybe I'm stupid, but you don't put a 10-point spread on a playoff game. Like I admit that I don't think the Bears are a
Yeah,
good team.
you were just saying how horrible the Bears are last week.
Yeah, they're not a great team. Like this could very well have been the Vikings or the Cardinals. Like it's a crapshoot thing, but 10 points is 10 points, and especially with the chance that Kamara may not play, which granted will probably change the spread, but this is the spread we have. So given the spread we have,
his COVID
I have to say Saints
quarantine
cover.
technically ends on Sunday.
Yeah.
So
Saints win, Bears cover.
Saints win, Bears cover. If Kamara plays, and there's also a possibility that Michael Thomas will return off of IR, Saints definitely are winning this game. No doubt about it. I'm gonna say Saints win, Saints cover, just to mix it up. And I think if they have their full complement of weapons, that is how it will go. The Saints, roster-wise, are just much better than the Bears, even though they've come alive a little bit of late. Final game, Tim. Browns versus Steelers. Steelers backed their way into the playoffs after starting extremely hot. Still favored by 6 at home against a Bears team that is sick for a playoff win and also sick of COVID-19. How many of their players are even going to be playing in this game? And how does that affect it?
I don't know that. I think a lot of the players are coming back now, but they've had a couple of coaches get it now, which is just not great for the Browns. But
they're a cursed team. It's horrible.
It's rough. They were. I mean, they almost blew it at making the playoffs, which would have been really sad.
Yeah.
So, fun fact: this game is in Pittsburgh. The Browns have not won in Pittsburgh since 2003.
In a playoff game?
No, in any game.
In any game?
They have not. Yep.
Against the Browns, you're saying?
The Browns have not won in Pittsburgh.
Oh, the Browns have.
Did I say that backwards? I don't know if I said that.
I think you
Browns have not
Pittsburgh.
won. Okay, Browns have not won in Pittsburgh since 2003, and they've only won once at Heinz Field, and that was that game in 2003.
Oh, wow.
So this is a massive uphill climb for the Browns.
Yeah.
And it would be a great fairy tale ending for them to just like somehow pull out, even if they lose the next game, but pull out a win in Pittsburgh for a playoff win, just get all that off their shoulders. It's not going to happen. I think the Browns will cover though, because this is just going to be just a bludgeoning kind of close game. But Pittsburgh will pull it out. It's that.
Yeah, that's this is an interesting game. I think it's a fun one to end our weekend wild card weekend extravaganza, whatever they're calling it. Browns will pull off the upset here. Their rushing attack is so dangerous, and even though the Steelers' defense is good and should be able to slow them down and keep this low scoring, the Steelers' offense just doesn't have it. Their running game is non-existent, and if the Browns get out to a lead, I think they can win this game in a close one to end the night. I'm picking Browns to win and cover that -6 spread.
Wow.
Yeah. This is going to be interesting. A lot of fun games. Definitely going to be watching all of them this weekend. So I picked Browns to win. I picked a lot of upsets. We'll see.
Yeah.
Tim, what is your Super Bowl prediction as of right now?
It's tough. So I still got the Bills. I'm gonna say Bills beat the Packers. Rodgers is gonna win the MVP, and he's gonna continue the MVP curse and lose in the Super Bowl. Bills over Packers.
Oof, that's sad. You're right about the Packers losing in the Super Bowl. It's just gonna be the Chiefs.
Okay.
It's going to be Packers-Chiefs. I feel really confident about that. Yeah. That's what most of the experts are saying. It's kind of the boring pick. But they got home field in, and they're just the best teams right now. I think it's pretty hard to argue that. Sure, the Bills could throw an upset. I could see the Packers maybe faltering, but that's just where I would put my money. I feel like that's the safe bet. Well, that's going to do it for the show. Enjoy the games, everyone. We'll recap everything and preview the Packers matchup next week. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a great week.
See ya.